Jodi is an author, public speaker, and the president of Success Alliances. It's an organization that teaches the discipline of entrepreneurial thinking. Welcome to Making It.
Thank you.
First of all, entrepreneurial thinking, what exactly is that?
Entrepreneurial thinking, if I could sum it up in a few words, I would really say it's taking personal ownership for results. So getting everyone at every level of the organization to really do some of the things that an owner would do, take that personal ownership for all of the results at every level.
Right. Now, when you talk about people having a culture, everybody has some kind of culture to draw upon. Now, is this the first place people should look to when they're going to start their own business?
It's one place to look. It's not the only place. I think what's so great about looking at your heritage and that particular aspect is that it is authentic. It's you. It's the very essence of you. It comes from your heart, so you can draw a lot of passion around that. But there are so many things in terms of starting a business that you would have to look at in addition to that for it to be a true success.
A lot of people try to separate that, but it's not necessary to do that because that does give you the passion that you really need, right?
Absolutely. I think it definitely does. It adds something that may give you the edge in the competitive marketplace.
Another dimension. Now, you have over 20 years of business sales and training experience. How do you use all that knowledge to make this work for your customers?
What I do is I really try to start with the leadership, because what I've found is if you're building a culture in an organization, which is what we try to do, to build a culture of entrepreneurial thinkers, people that are taking that personal ownership, which does affect everything from customer service to productivity, is to find ways to help the leaders help the folks that work with them or for them. And part of that is acknowledgement. One of the things that the frontline employees are desperate for in the research is they really want more acknowledgement. And sometimes when corporations get bigger and bigger, that aspect sometimes dwindles.
Right. So you mean being appreciated, acknowledgement, that kind of thing. They just want to know that you notice that they're there.
Absolutely. Know that they're there, and certainly valuing the employee as the customer. This is something that Southwest Airlines does very well, and I had the opportunity to interview Colleen Barrett, who is now the president of Southwest Airlines, and she was Herb Kelleher's secretary for many years, and then started in the customer service area with him, helping build the customer service for Southwest Airlines, and now is running the company. And her whole philosophy is around that area of treating your employees as the #1 customer.
Right.
And that's why they have a lot of fun, and that has been a big aspect of their success.
And that will make you money.
Absolutely. And it has.
Well, just because a business owner knows his or her culture, now should they presume to think that that's what their customers will know as well?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. I think that could be very short-sighted, because we tend to make assumptions sometimes, and one of the things entrepreneurs in starting businesses, it's always interesting because they are oftentimes considered to be great risk takers, but actually they're calculated risk takers.
Right.
So they look at all of this information. So in addition to just the culture, one of the things that they would want to look at are all of these other areas that would affect the types of customers that would be coming into their business.
Now, you're a motivational speaker. Let's talk about that. What happens to somebody where they need a motivational speaker to kind of get them back on their feet?
Well, I think it's interesting because I don't think there is such a thing as a true motivational speaker. We like to think that certainly we can make an impact and perhaps change some perceptions in their thinking, but the true motivation is internal. And so what we try to do is to give them insights and allow them to go inside to really think about how it affects them personally. And then with that, the internal motivation is what has to kick in, whether it's for you as an entrepreneur yourself or if you're working within a company, because so many organizations have had struggles with low morale, a lot of changes going on, outsourcing of jobs, all sorts of things going on. And when that's happening, you have to keep the troops and the morale high, and you have to value them if you really want that to happen.
Now, people have that in there somewhere, and sometimes they lose their way. Is it because things get complicated? How does that happen?
I think it gets complicated. And do you mean from the leadership perspective? I think it gets far too complicated than it needs to be.
Right.
Actually, far too complicated. Because when we do the research, and again, when we've interviewed some of these folks, it's some of the very simple things that people are wanting, the everyday thank you. I mean, people are being asked to do more with less, day in and day out, and many of the companies that I work with are struggling with that same aspect. But if you're going to build a culture, you can't ask your employees to be entrepreneurial thinkers and be creative and be risk takers and do all those things if it's not supported by the leadership.
Exactly.
It won't work.
Okay. Thank you so much. Great information. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to tell you how you can get in touch with Jodi Walker and Success Alliances right after this break, so stick around.